Hi, I'm Brian Dunn, and welcome to the most important podcast ever. What makes it so important? It's not about me, it's about you. This podcast is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, the moments of resilience, the lessons learned, and the small acts that made a big difference. And today we're going to talk about one of the big acts that made a big difference. From retail floors to boardrooms, we'll share the untold stories that shape lives and careers. This week, our guests are Brad Weinrich and Steve Drabowski. You remember them both from Steve was episode 19, Brad was episode 20, and I know you remember because it was our number one asked about question on DMs over this first season, and that is the remarkable story of Brad needing a kidney, battling for his life, and Steve coming forward and offering that kidney. And now here we are. That happened Thanksgiving time, right?
The day before.
The day before Thanksgiving. Talk about something to be grateful for. And so now,
Right.
Steve, help me with the math. We are 4 months later, just about.
Sure.
Brad,
Yep.
will you help us with the math? Is that about right? 4
Yeah,
months.
it's 4 months because I just had the very first milestone check-in at the Mayo, and that's the 4-month check-in.
Well, let's what I'd love to do is have you guys share as much as you're willing to share about that day forward. Love to hear about the day itself, and let's just talk about where we are. Brad, you
Yeah,
like to
I
go?
can jump. Yeah, sure, I'll jump in. So, the day of, it's kind of funny because I spent so many years in retail, and the day after Thanksgiving was always memorable. And this time, the kidney transplant was the day before. So it was kind of new for me. The morning of, all I remember is it was me and Steve, Steve's wife and his mom, my wife and my dad, and we're all in kind of a waiting area before surgery and just kind of hugging like everyone. There's a couple of tears, and I had just met Steve's mom, and we all just kind of were together. And then they put us in our separate rooms after Steve and I had a moment together just to kind of hug and share a couple of thoughts. And that was, certainly emotional. And then I was in a room with my wife and dad, and we said a prayer, and they brought me in. And shortly after they bring you in, they, inject you with something. And then I woke up in a hospital bed. So it was the morning of was pretty quick for me. I don't know if you had the same experience, Steve, but it was those few minutes with us, and then I was in surgery.
Yeah, we showed up at I think 6:45 for check-in, and
Yep.
we're there. And then like Brad was saying, they're like, do you want? We're gonna put you under. Do you want a shot in your back or in your spine? We're like, sure. I've never had it before, and I've had plenty of surgeries because I was like, just give me this stuff so I don't vomit when I wake up because I've had that before when I broke my legs when I was younger.
Zofran,
And so
baby.
I was
Zofran.
like, give me the good
Yeah.
stuff. They're like, well, we'll give you a shot in your back. I was like, okay. So they're like, sit up, and you're sitting up, and all of a sudden they shoot you once, and they shoot you the second time, and I was out of it. I don't remember, and then I woke up in the bed. That's all I remember.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
And
Same thing here. Yep.
do you mind if I ask some questions of each of you about
Yeah,
it?
go ahead.
Please.
So you're giving a kidney from your body. Do they, in the 11th hour, say you
Oh
all
yeah,
green, baby? You green, good to go?
yeah. They asked you. I got asked that day or before because we had to show up the day before for some stuff, and then even that morning when they're marking your body, the doctor goes, if you want to say no, you can say no. We have the right, and we'll just tell your friend that there's something wrong with you and you can't just donate. So they give you the out if you want it, and they'll blame it on something else if you just chicken out or you decide to change your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
They're like, if he
Well,
pissed you off last night, you could change your mind. I was like, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Like, well, he paid for dinner. Let's go.
and,
Let's go.
and if I know Brad, he's capable of pissing you off like that.
I did pick up the check though the night before, so I
Yeah.
wanted to
Okay.
make sure you know what I mean?
So you guys had dinner the night before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
with our wife, Audrey and Mindy. Yep. That's a
yeah.
Thai
That's
restaurant there. That's pretty.
that's so cool. We'll get to Audrey and Mindy in a little bit. So how long were you out? And I presume giving the kidney is a shorter procedure than receiving the kidney.
I think so. They pulled me in first because when they were wheeling me out, I saw Brad was still in his room. They were in the room right next to me, and then they take you in, like I said, it's a big operating room, and there was a door next door. I said, "Go, will Brad be in there?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." And then like I said, I think by the time they got us out of the room, it was around 8:15, 8:30, somewhere around there. And then I woke up 2 o'clock is what I remember because I woke up earlier than that in the recovery room, but then they moved me because I don't remember much.
Right.
And I woke up, I was like, "Are we done?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay." Because I didn't feel any pain. It was all good. And I was just like, "I'm hungry." So they brought me ice cream, so it was all good.
There's a good reason you weren't feeling any pain. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you had plenty of chemicals on board. And so you woke up about 2. How about you, Brad?
I don't remember. I think mine was the next day. Because they gave me the same spinal shot, but they also gave me a little extra because it's a little more painful. There's more cutting on my side than there is on Steve's, to get it in there. So I think I had more pain medication that kept me out longer.
And I remember from episode 20, watch it if you haven't seen it. Brad, you told us they keep the defective, I hope you don't mind that term, kidney on board, right? So you've got 3 kidneys in there.
I do. I have 3 kidneys, and your normal kidneys are like middle up your back, I think. And
Yep.
my new kidney is actually in my lower front stomach. So
Really?
it's like right above my bladder. You can actually touch it. It's really, really strange. It's right above my waistline on my right side. And
So
it
are you
actually
aware of
sticks
it?
out. Oh yeah, I'm touching it right now, like the actual kidney. I can feel it through the skin.
I can feel
Wow.
it
It's
too.
crazy.
That's fine. That's cool. Um, so will it always be like that you can feel it?
Yeah, it'll always be in that same spot. Yep.
So is it more, do you mind answering these questions?
Not at all.
Is it more vulnerable? Is it less protected because of where it is?
No, no. I mean, they said don't become an MMA guy, but other than that, it's pretty protected still. It's behind tissue and
Yeah.
fat and whatever else. So yeah, I would think so because I can touch it, right? But it's
Right.
not as close
Right.
as I think. I don't
Right.
think. I think it's
Right.
more in there.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's really strange that I can feel it. I can see it in pictures. If I'm
Yeah.
at a certain angle, you can see the kidney sticking out. It's really odd. It's really,
I
really odd.
I, I got a look at it from the picture Steve shared with me. It's a good looking kidney he gave you. He gave you the good
Yeah,
one.
it was a good one. Yeah, nice
I
and
got told
it
by
looked.
both doctors it was a fabulous
Yeah,
kidney. I
um,
was like, "Oh,
yeah,
I raised it right."
and
yeah.
my I really empathize because I know how much you wanted to become an MMA guy. So
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
that's a
I had
big
the walkout
sacrifice.
song. I had the
Yep.
walkout song. I was gonna get one of the real legitimate trainers. Brock
Yeah.
Lesnar lives in Minnesota or Canada or
Yeah.
something. I could maybe talk to him. I
Yeah.
had it all figured out, and now I just had to give up that dream.
Yep. Well, hopefully a new one will rise to take its place. So,
Right.
Steve, you
Yep.
wake up at 2. Can you give us like what is day 2, day 4, day 7 like?
Well, just day one was crazy because I woke up, like I said, around 2. They're like, "Are you hungry?" I was like, "Well, what can I eat or drink?" They're like, "You're on a staff diet." I was like, "Okay, does that include ice cream?" They're like, "Sure." So they got me some things of ice cream. And then by like 6 o'clock, right? I think it may be even earlier that they had me walking around, and I was gonna go walk down. Brad was like, down the hallway a little bit. And they're like, he's not ready to be seen yet. I was like, okay. And so I just hung out in my room and was just sitting there chilling, eating ice cream and relaxing. Because it wasn't, I've broken both my legs at the same time. I've had my ACL done. I've had my appendix out. And this procedure wasn't painful at all. I woke up and they had me on different bunch of stuff. I think Oxy. And so I only took really Oxy for like 3 days. And the only painful, it wasn't painful, but I just couldn't sleep that first night. Because when they put the tubes in you, they blow up your stomach with gas. And they tell you, like, tonight, if you're sitting up, you may have pain in your shoulders because the gas can't get out. But I was just like bloated and gassy and burping all night long. And so I didn't really sleep, but I had no pain. It was just discomfort from being bloated.
Do you mind if I ask, why do they blow you up with gas, just to get stuff out of the way?
So to expand the stomach so they have more room to work in there and then to pull out your kidney. Because you got to pull this guy out right here.
And
This is the kidney.
that's an actual
I get better when
3D.
I get this.
That's from
Yeah,
Steve's
right here.
3D printer. That's the actual kidney. So, like, they have you up walking around first night?
Yeah, they want you up walking around as soon as you can. I talked to two of people that donated kidneys previously in the last 5 years, and they all got sent home on the second day. The next day, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can go get out of here." I don't know if it because it was Thanksgiving, they were just like, "Get out." But yeah, I felt fine. I was walking around just fine. They actually told me to stop walking so much because they're like, "You shouldn't be walking that much." I go, "I was told to walk, so I'm gonna walk. Let's go."
So your kidneys are functioning. Everything's your kidney is functioning.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
why wouldn't it? I guess that's a better question for Brad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go
ahead.
let me just wrap Steve up here for a second. So you were bounced on the second day, Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and then
And so
you hung around the
I spent one
cities for
more
a
night.
couple weeks, right?
Yeah, so I spent one more night in Rochester that night, and then the next day we went. My mom drove me home, and I stayed at her house for a few days, and then yeah, so it was basically I stayed in Minneapolis for a week until I could fly. And it was just cold. I'm not used to the cold, so I flew down to Miami where Audrey was doing her art show with Max Zorn, and so I went there for Art Basel for a few days, and then I flew to Mexico for 2 weeks to relax because I
Guy.
couldn't live on my boat because the big restriction they gave me is you can't lift more than 10 pounds.
Right.
So if getting in and out of my boat for my dinghy, I wouldn't be able to do it if I slipped and had to grab onto something to pull myself up. So I basically stayed away from where I live now in St. Thomas.
During the time Steve was in Minneapolis, he came in to visit me one afternoon, and I'm just going to tell the story. He's this heroic guy, right? I admire what he's done, and all he does is whine and cry about how cold it is. How cold it is. I'm not a winter guy, and I'm like, I started to say you're so soft, but then he just coughed
I've been
up his
down so
kidney, so
long.
there's nothing soft
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Brad, tell us about
Yes,
the
sir.
first weeks. Walk us through your timeline.
Yeah, so I was in the hospital for about 7 days, so for about a week. I had problems. They had problems controlling my pain. Mine was very different experience than Steve's. I had a lot of pain. My incision is like from the bladder all the way up to where the kidney is, so my lower stomach. So it's about that long of a scar, and they glued it together. So the scar itself was fine, but the internal pain was it was awful. I was on fentanyl for like 3 or 4 days and then tapered down to Oxy and still needed Oxy out of the hospital for another week. But yeah, my first week was basically like Steve's. I was up walking when I could. I was on a liquid diet, so a lot of Jello, stuff like that. And it was just my dad and Mindy were just in the room with me as much as they could be, and just relaxing. Really, it's you got to rest so much after because they're both major, right? But it's a very major surgery to have one put in. So I had to really be careful to relax and make sure that I wasn't lifting or doing anything like that. So I walked maybe later on the second day. and then thereafter, and then we had to stay in a hotel in Rochester. So we were about 2 miles from the clinic. And Mindy was with me, and I would walk in the hallways of the hotel and just try to relax. And I was also, so Steve had the air. Well, for me, they had to pump me full of fluid, where Steve can get rid of that. Well, the new kidney takes a minute to catch up. So I was like 20 pounds of fluid over. I had 20 pounds of weight just in fluid on my body. So walking and letting the kidney kick in and urinate to get it off, that took probably 2 weeks to get down to a normal weight again.
And is that because it takes the kidney a minute to get working?
They call it, the kidney has to fully wake up. They say it has to wake up and start processing. Now, it was processing right away. They put a catheter in, and the doctor said as soon as they stitched in the kidney, I was making urine, but it's very little at first. So for
Right.
2 days, I had the catheter, and then they pulled that out. Boy, that's fun. They pulled that out, and then I was peeing on my own, and it would start with so back to the dialysis. I hadn't
Right.
peed in 2 years. 2 years, my bladder had nothing in it. So the day after surgery, my bladder was about that big. And so it took time for it to stretch and get back to a normal size, which I'm at now finally. But I was peeing every hour for about 2 weeks, every hour or two.
And I bet you were savoring every minute of it. I mean, it must
It
have
was the
been
most,
great to be.
yes, the most fun thing was being able to, I know this is just an awful topic, but being able to pee again. Like I wanted to go out and write my name in the snow like when I was a kid. I mean, it was all brand new again, and it felt so
Bro,
good to have
thank
a
you,
normal
thank you,
function.
Steve.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm
right.
yeah. I'm going to do
So it
that
was
in
good
your
though.
honor tonight.
I like that. Good, good. Do that.
Wow. So how long were you down how long did you have to stay in Rochester?
So it's supposed to be a month. They kicked us out in 3 weeks. They felt good about everything, so we went home like the 20th, 22nd, something in there, before Christmas, which was great. So we had to celebrate Christmas at home.
That's cool.
So yeah, about 3 weeks, and we were in one of those extended stays. So we had a little kitchenette and a bigger room, so we could kind of move around. But yeah, about 3 weeks, and then we came back home.
And did you feel weird, or is it you're back to yourself? I mean, does your outlook change?
Here's the biggest thing, and
Tell
I
me.
didn't notice it, but everywhere I went, people that I knew said I looked different. Like I had color again. I was glowing compared to before. Like you get so run down in dialysis and pale and pasty, and it takes a lot out of you. When the more you read about what dialysis is doing, it's tough on your body.
It is, and
So
it's not a permanent solution, right? I mean, it's the clock's running.
right. Well, some people have to be on it, and it weakens you so bad that that eventually leads to the end. But yeah, I think it's meant to be, ideally short term until you get a kidney.
Right.
So I bounced back in that way, and not right away, but maybe 2.5, 3 months in, I started feeling great. Like I want to run. Like I was full of energy that I didn't have for 3 years. I was just so full of energy. I just wanted to do everything. And then, like Steve said, I had a 8 pound, or it's a gallon of milk. You can't lift more than a gallon of milk for 8 weeks, right? So Mindy was like on me because I would want to like grab 4 grocery bags and we went shopping. She's like, no, you can't carry anything. But you want to because you feel so much better. Like I
Yeah.
felt brand new. Yeah, it was crazy.
And that was how many weeks after that you started to
Probably
feel
eight.
like
Yeah,
eight
like eight
weeks?
weeks. Yeah, 8 to 10, something like that. Or no, more like 6 to 8. I'm sorry, like 6 to 8.
And this is for both of you. Is there PT, or is there physical therapy or occupational therapy involved with this?
No, I still knew
And
how to pee, so that was the biggest thing. Like They said you might, pee your pants if you don't go right away. Like here's the thing they said. The only thing they said about urination, Brian, and I'm sorry that like half this podcast is about urine,
But
but they said don't hold it because you can't. Like, so as soon as you feel an inkling, you got to go. And now that's finally normalized where it's like it was before. But yeah, for those first couple of weeks, it was pretty dicey. I was running to the bathroom a couple times.
yeah, that's it's amazing to me what they can do. Do the uh, you're on a regimen of anti
Rejection.
rejection. The studio just helped me. Thank you. Anti-rejection drugs. Thank you, Thomas. Do they have side effects?
Yeah, they do. So tacrolimus is one of them, and that one, the main side effects that I have experienced is a stiff neck, headaches, um, and it can change your like bowel patterns. I won't get into all that, but mainly I always have a stiff neck, and I always am on. I take Tylenol pretty much 24/7 because I have a headache otherwise.
And is that like a that'll be an ongoing situation?
No. So eventually, they do this in stages. So 0 to 8 months, you're on the highest dose of these medicines so
Mm-hmm.
you don't reject, and then they lower them, and then they lower them, and then they lower them. So eventually, you wouldn't have side effects.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
It's a journey you just need to get through.
Don't even care about it. Yeah, it's just if that's all that happens, I don't even it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was more identifying that was why.
And
Because I'm
just
like, geez, all of a sudden I can't move my neck, and they're like, yeah,
yeah.
that's the tack. It's going to do that. So
And just a programming note for our network. We're not going to delve into any poop stories, but we will touch on some urine here and there as it relates to the kidney story.
yes,
Um,
sir.
Steve, when did you get the full on green light? Are you diving again and stuff?
Yeah, so they basically just told me 6 weeks. Once 6 weeks was up, as long as I feel like it, I could dive again. I could start working again, working on the boat, moving stuff, carrying stuff. So that's all good. And then going back to Brad's thing, if anybody ever wants to donate, let me know. But basically, I have 3 scars they made. One that's like 3 inches right underneath the belly button, straight down, and then I have 2 on the side, little incisions where they put the what's that called? The scope in, and whatever else. So they're small incisions compared to
Right,
Brad's.
right.
Yeah.
And how long till you felt like you again, Steve?
Oh, it was other than the first 2 weeks, it hurt to sneeze or laugh. But other than that, I never had any pain. So I was good walking around. In 2 days, I was up and walking regular, normal. My mom was actually like, Steve, stop moving around so much. I was like, they told me to move around. I'm trying to get
Right,
better. So I
right.
can, but like I said, I didn't feel pain at all. So
When you came over, Steve, and you said it hurts to laugh, then I got super focused on trying to make you laugh. And I
yeah,
realized after you left that am I a bad person? Maybe.
just
Maybe.
tested me,
But
see if I was telling the
so anything that's different in your life post Steve? Are there adjustments you've had to make?
So the main thing is if you do drink, not to drink a lot, and then they want you to drink like 64 ounces of water a day. So I think that's like double what a normal person's recommended. So I try to drink as much water as I can in the morning, get it done with, and then relax the rest. Well, not relax, just take it
Keep the
easier.
pipes flushed.
That's right. Keep it filtered.
Yep,
So
yep.
and then
And
like same thing with Brad. I had to give up my MMA career also because I can't do
really,
any high
because I
contact
wanted to
sports.
market you. I wanted to market
Scoop
you
Steve
as the
MMA.
booyah guy, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought I'd have you take on a bunch of standees. Sorry, it's an inside joke.
They got
Um,
sent. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Um, are there big lessons? And I want to talk about Audrey and Mindy and how they have they settled back into a normal life? Like, does Mindy look at you like you're fragile, Brad, or is she back giving you the business
No,
when you need it?
no, we're back. We're fully back. We're both back to work, which is great. I just went back a few weeks ago. Um, but yeah, at first, definitely with the weight restriction and the scar, all that stuff, she was very diligent that I didn't screw anything up because the doctors were too. And anything that I've experienced with Mindy all the way back to when I got diagnosed with kidney disease is she's the one who's dialed in with the doctors. Like she knows what's going on. I'm more like, tell me what to do, but she's more understanding of what long-term effects will be, right? So
Right,
if I'm just
right,
like, well, I'm just going to lift it, who cares? She's like, well, then you could have,
right.
you could lose the kidney, you could do this or that or whatever. So she's always there, has always been there to ensure that I was doing the right stuff. But now, yeah, we're back. She's giving me a hard time and making me carry the groceries and
That's good.
all that
That's
stuff.
good.
Yeah, no, she's making sure that I got back in fighting shape. So
I called looking for you, and Mindy told me you were sleeping, and she and I had a lovely conversation. And I thought, how blessed is Brad to have an advocate like that? And for our
oh,
audience, it's so important that you have an advocate. If you're dealing with something medical, you need somebody that goes to the appointments with you, that understands all the ramifications, because there's a lot of stuff coming at you for sure. And
mhm.
I thought, this guy, my buddy Brad, is blessed because she is slugging it out for him in a huge way.
And not only that, like what you said, but just the times that I felt like a shell of myself on dialysis, like,
Yeah.
you know, what's the point? This sucks. Like I can't even walk half a mile without getting winded and I would, or passing out. Um, and she was always there to say, you're the strongest person I know, right? And even though I felt like I wasn't, she'd remind me of how difficult the situation was and that I got through it. So not only the day to day, but that emotional piece to say like,
Yeah.
you're doing great. Because I didn't feel like I was doing great a lot throughout this process. And
Yeah.
she was always there to tell me I was. So
You had a lot of stuff to think about. Am I going to get a
yeah,
kidney? Is it going to get here in time? I mean, you had a
right.
full load, man, for
Yep.
sure. And
Yep.
I think about Audrey, newly married to you, Steve, and you're like, hey, I'm I'm gonna give this cat I used to work with one of my organs. I mean, that's a
Yeah, she
lot,
thought I was crazy. She's like, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah. Why would I tell you if I wasn't serious?" She's like,
right?
"What does that involve?" And then so it's nice because, like I was saying, this whole the National Kidney Association or Donation Association, they have it so well built that you can talk to whoever you want, and they'll give you all the information. That people you can talk to. A lot of the people that they let you talk to have actually donated or received a kidney. So they keep everybody involved and keep you updated on the process and the procedures, and then they take care of your uh, lost wages. There's programs out there to help you get reimbursed for a lot of the travel and the accommodations. So you're really not losing out on anything other than you're missing a 10-ounce piece of liver, not liver, kidney in your stomach.
Yeah.
But
Hold it up again, can you? You're missing that.
yeah,
It's sort of cute. You have cute kidneys apparently. Um, One of the things I'd love if there's organizations for our audience out there, people who might be dealing with something like this. I'd love it if you let me know what organizations were helpful, and I'll be sure to tag them
yep, I'll
on
send you
our
that.
episode. And the
Yeah.
same for you, Brad. I'd love to know what you think
Yeah.
is. Can you, I got a little hat envy here. Can you guys tell me about your hats?
Go ahead,
Brad, you can go
Steve.
first.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
okay.
go
I'm a
ahead.
big Rolling Stones fan, and mine is a Mick Jagger hat, and it looks like it's written with marker, but I actually purchased this hat, believe it or not.
I like it.
Um, Yeah, the Stones. I've always been a big Stones guy, and I've seen them in concert a bunch of times. And
I've seen them 21 times.
yeah,
I'm sick with the
hey,
Oh
Stones.
wow.
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
can't. Yeah, it's. I mean, I'll fight someone. I think here's what I would tell you, and I don't share this much, but if you ever want to know what kind of person you're dealing with, whether you're dating somebody or vetting out a friend or whatever, ask them who's better, the Beatles or the Stones, and if they say the Stones or they say the Beatles, walk away because the Beatles are a pop band, the Stones are a rock band, and the
Now,
Stones define rock and roll, and that's all I'll say.
as you both know, I was on the board of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Yep.
and the Beatles and the Stones, pop and rock, both, Brad, much to your chagrin, have a place in the ecosystem.
Uh,
I know you don't want to go there, but I have a Keith Richards story I'll tell you sometime. That's
please, please.
fairly amusing. Um,
Oh, I'll say this, Brian, too, before you wrap up. I want to share I have not told Steve this either, but last week was my 4-month checkup, and that's the first checkup after you leave the hospital, besides blood tests, right? Where they did a biopsy on my kidney, and the doctor's words, it's perfect, working great, fully functional. It looks perfect, he said. So thank you, Steve, for the perfect kidney.
I still hope you bought the extended service plan on it. But
and if you didn't, I can sell you a 2-year or 5-year. What it really comes
Yeah,
down to is what's a better value for you and your family.
that's
that's
right.
right.
Um, Steve, tell us about your hat, please.
Oh, so Waffle House. I love the Waffle House. Anytime I travel to the South, I always go to the Waffle House. My wife Audrey always buys me a new hat because they just get beat up down here in the in
I
the in the weather. So
I was whining to my crew that you both have these cool hats. So they got me one. It's just a Love Your Melon hat, but I think some
Okay.
of it goes to charity, so that's pretty cool. I want you two to know that there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about both of you. And I'm amazed, Steve, at your act of grace, reaching out and giving to your fellow man. And I am in awe of your courage, Brad, in walking this walk and the beautiful, exemplary way you both played your roles in this. And I really hope that you'll come back and see us once a year. We want to check in with you guys, see how your lives are going, see how your kidney is, Brad, and hear all about your adventures, both of you.
Absolutely.
yep.
And thank you for shining a light on this, not only for us, but for the donation process. There are so many people waiting for a kidney. It's so many. And whether you give direct like Steve, you can also donate to a kidney.
Bank.
It's like a center that you donate there. They give it to someone else and make sure your kidney goes to who you want it to. But it's like a different type of placement, but it guarantees somebody a kidney still. So you can donate not directly, but still donate is my point. Um, and if you have any questions, please call the Mayo Clinic. Call me. Brian will give you my number through a DM. I'm happy to talk about the process, but the Mayo Clinic made Steve and our process go
Yeah,
so
that
smoothly.
place was
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, just unbelievable. It
Yeah.
deserves every piece of recognition it gets. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yep. The Mayo Clinic's a gem. There's just no two ways about it. And I uh, I love you both, guys. I admire you both, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And thank you so much for your friendship. And thank you so much for being such great examples of what it means to really care about the people. So, anything
Yeah.
you didn't get to that you wanted to?
Oh, I was going to say the one thing that was awesome, amazing when I first got back to Minnesota, Audrey and I were in Fiji for 5 weeks on vacation because they told me to relax and calm down before the donation. So I was like, you know me, I take it literally. So we went to Fiji for 5 weeks, and then Brad's like, hey Steve, we're doing Thanksgiving early. Do you want to join the family on Saturday? So we flew in Friday. Saturday, I drive up to where I don't know where we were, but
Isanti.
we drove
Yeah.
up to see his family. Yeah, Santi. I was expecting like 10 or 12 people. And I walk in and there's like 20, 25 people. And I was just like, oh wow. I was like, yep, I'm family now. So it meant a
Yep.
lot to get to be part of that. So
Yep. It
thank you,
must
Brad.
have been family only because I got no such invitation. So I thank you both for your time. I thank you for sharing your amazing story. And I pray that God blesses you both every day.
You too,
Thanks,
Brian.
guys.
Thank you.
You too. Love you. Have a nice
So
night.
Love you
that's
guys.
it for this, the most important podcast ever. Big thanks to Brad and Steve for sharing their amazing story. And a big thanks to you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation, please share it with someone who might find it meaningful and who wouldn't. And you can watch us on our YouTube channel, and you can get us wherever you get your podcasts. I want to thank the amazing crew here at Streetside Studio 7, and I want to thank our hosts at Deja Blue House of Coffee, the best coffee in Alexandria. And with that, we'll see you next week.